Okay, let's make sure we got some audio running over here. See how we're doing. Okay, let's make sure we got some audio running over here. Okay, sounds like we got some audio. Awesome. Good stuff, good stuff. Wow, let's get going. Let's get this started. Very cool, very cool. Okay, let's get this party started. Okay. Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope everything's going well for you and you're having a great night. I appreciate you joining the live stream. If you're dropping into the live stream, put your name, type your name into the chat. I'd like to see who I'm hanging out with tonight and get started over here and get going. So drop your name into the chat. Appreciate it. Let me know who's joining in. Tonight is our Sketching After Hours, and we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes here. If we haven't met before, my name is Paul Angeli, and I'm a live action storyboard artist. And I bring to you this YouTube channel. It's a passion project of mine that I'm having fun with. And I wanted to give a resource for you visual storytellers out there, storyboard artists and filmmakers out there, to give you a resource of what the craft of storyboarding is. Its versatility, and creating this as a resource for knowledge of how-to videos, tutorials, demonstrations, sort of sessions that we can get together and hang out and have a good time. And I get an opportunity to share my processes and sort of my storyboard journey and my creative side journey with you folks at home. So I hope this is giving you some great value, and I hope you would consider subscribing to this channel. I work really hard to put these sort of lectures together. I come to you 3 days a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, bringing you fresh and exciting content to help you on your artistic journey. Again, my name is Paul Angeli, and let me throw up my contact information for you for any business inquiries, or if you'd like to get in touch. You could reach me at mr.paul.angeli@gmail.com. That's my main email address, so please feel free to use that. You can check out my website at www.paulangeli.com, and that's my portfolio website. And then you can reach me on Instagram and just under my handle of Paul Angeli, and here on YouTube. So I appreciate a lot of you good friends out there. Reach out to me on the DM for Instagram and here on the YouTube channel and on LinkedIn and other places like that. So I appreciate you getting in touch. Just a quick screenshot of my portfolio site, and you're welcome to check that out whenever you get a free chance to see the work over there. And I got new stuff coming down the pipeline too to put up on there, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's what we have going on right now. So let's take a look at the chat, see who we have going on, who's on tonight. So I got my buddy Maria. How you doing, Maria? Great to see you. Appreciate the DMs after last Tuesday's meeting. Appreciate it, and appreciate all the support. And thank you for joining us again. HMT, how you doing? Good to see you back on the live stream again. Really appreciate everybody joining in. Again, if you're joining for the first time, drop your name in the chat and let me know that you're hanging out with me. So with all the great fun content that I have coming out to you, I want to just go over my sort of programming schedule with you, and then we'll get into today's lesson. So with the program that we have right now, on Tuesdays, I bring you our Storyboarding Mastering the Basics series. And on that Storyboarding Mastering the Basics, I'm really trying to hone in and give you some great value here. And I appreciate the time that you're watching my channel here and joining the live streams, or you friends at home and joining the replay. But on Tuesdays is my Storyboarding Mastering the Basics. And sort of my goal and my aim is to give you your tutorials, give you your how-tos. We've gone over a lot about storyboarding. This last week we went over what were the 6 main points of becoming a storyboard artist. What are the, if I had to redo my career again, what would be those points? So go check out that video in the playlist for the mastering the basics, storyboarding mastering the basics series. I try to give you some really great info. We're close to, well over, or pretty close to 40 live streams we've been doing for the last 3.5 months pretty soon, and bringing you some fantastic content. We've gone all over all different tips and tricks, storyboarding procedures. We've written a screenplay and gone from a screenplay all the way through our shot lists and thumbnails and our different roughs and our finals, and going into even color and value and some different output, and then put it into finally an animatic. So if you haven't checked that great stuff out, please take the time and check that out. Then on Thursdays like today is our sketching after hours. Now I sort of think about it as like we're all hanging out at the pub, or we're all hanging out for at the soda fountain or something like that, and hanging out and sort of get that time to draw. I think it is so important. I've been trying to post my my quick sketches I do. Like on lunch break, I just threw a quick sketch together on lunch break, and did one earlier this morning of our roller derby girls. So check out those shorts. I'm committed to always honing my craft and getting better and putting those reps in and putting that pencil mileage. Put those things into your sketchbooks. Utilize this tool. If you need more information on how to use your sketchbook in 2024, check out my video, a few live streams ago, and I show you how I use how to document and journal and sketch, and use this as a great device and tool to keep organized and within your sketchbook, on top of just throwing cool drawings in it. So a lot of learning and interesting things that you can use with a sketchbook. And then on Saturdays is a fun session for me. This is my storyboard jam sessions. The storyboard jam sessions are a cool segment. I picked different topics. During Halloween we did all sorts of horror movies and that type of work. And then we've done action, we've done Tarzan, we've done Jaws, we've done Alien, the movie Alien, we've done the TV show, the hit show on Amazon Prime, Reacher. We've done all sorts of did a card chase. We did all sorts of fun stuff on our Saturday jam sessions, where I just go and I sit there and I come up with a fun idea, and we storyboard that sequence together, and use all those tools we learn on Tuesdays, and then the practice on Thursdays, and then we sort of put it all together on Saturdays. So I appreciate you joining. If you're getting great value out of these lessons and these hours and hours of content I'm delivering to you, please support. I'd appreciate your support by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Help me grow this this channel and this community. I got a lot of fellow storyboard artists, brothers and sisters out there that we're all sort of connecting on the outside and supporting each other. There's a lot of great data out there. I know my buddy Eric Yamamoto and we've partnered up quite a few times, and we're looking forward to possibly doing some more stuff together. And I'd like to bring Eric onto our channel here on the Paul Angeli channel, and probably be available to him as well. So, but some great stuff, some great artists, that I know, and I look forward to working again with in the future. So join up, and hopefully we can deliver you some great content. And I got some other things working on right now. Hopefully I can launch those things towards the end of the month. Maria, you asked me about a couple questions there. I'm hoping to get all that stuff launched out to give you even greater value in terms of your visual storytelling and me helping you. So, and help you grow to whatever type of visual storyteller you want to do. I know we got a lot of comic book artists out there. I've done a lot of comics in the past and interactive comic books, and gotten to work with some cool stuff. And we can pass on a variety of different knowledge, both in live action film, feature animation, regular televised animation, video production for music videos, corporate videos, short film, indie type films, and things like that. There's so many different angles storyboards and visual storytelling go into, and it's a fun overall craft, and I'm happy to share with you my journey and what we have going on. So tonight's lesson is going to be for our sketching after hours tonight. I think it's super important. This is a fun little exercise. We're going to practice this, and I challenge you folks at home to draw along with me and draw this on your own, as well. And we're going to be drawing with silhouettes today. And drawing in silhouette, I think drawing in silhouette is so it's a difficult thing to do for some folks because we want to add all those different little nuggets of detail, and we want to. I think as a storyboard artist, I think one of the things that we want to do is we want simplicity and clarity in terms of the boards that we're creating, and that if somebody your audience member, or it might be your director you're working with, your client you're working with, you want to be clear and concise of what you see. And it goes into a little bit of design for you designers out there. You've probably seen this before on conceptual design and those type of things. And I usually practice this. So if I'm laying out a sequence, sometimes I'll just I'm trying to, when I'm laying form down, I don't have the time to sit there, and I love doing all the detail. Don't get me wrong. I love all the fancy details. If you saw that rollerblade girl I was doing, I love that stuff. I love doing all the detail and the clothing and I have fun with it. The creative dude comes out of me and I have fun doing that stuff, or I'm doing a creature or whatever it might be. But I think it's important to have solid silhouette, and that your storyboards are readable. Who's the character? Is this a dog? Is this a cat? Is this a human? Is this a humanoid? Is this a telephone, a car? What is the object that we're drawing? And when you see it in things in its simplest form, and we talked about that before when I showed some cheats in some of our earlier live streams about using your basic primitive forms: a circle, a square, a triangle, a sphere, a rectangle. Those primitive forms, they help you think in terms of your composition, your layouts. You'll see a lot of a fantastic, concept designers just to do these beautiful landscapes, and you're watching them and they're just throwing up just blocks and form because they're creating the form, they're creating the depth, they're using value. Today we're just going to be using just pretty much black and white to keep that silhouette, because it's the way our brain works and how things are that how we perceive forms, and we're going into the basics of how that works. So when we're drawing in a silhouette, and you think of a silhouette, you think of those different things. We've seen like the picture of Mickey Mouse, and there's this arm's a little different than this arm, and Mickey's like, hey, how you doing? And it's like, and it was, I think it was in the Illusion of Life book too from Disney. It's like you don't want your characters to be flat. You want them to have some depth and some form and some that they're taking up space. And I think helping to have solid, what's a good way to silhouette and what's a not so hot way to silhouette in terms of what we're doing, because when we're doing a silhouette, your brain looks at that silhouette and it's looking at the outside form, and then your brain distinguishes that form or mass on the outline of that particular silhouette to go, okay, you're amazing. Okay, that's a dog, that's a car, that's a horse, or that's a Godzilla. You just see the form and you understand what that is. If I have a bunch of forms together and I line them all up like a police lineup, and you're behind the double pane glass, if I have a silhouette of SpongeBob SquarePants and I have a silhouette of somebody like Doctor Strange, and I have a silhouette of Mickey Mouse, and I have a silhouette of Barney Rubble from the Flintstones, you're going to automatically know what characters we're looking at, because a lot of great artists put a lot of time into that silhouette. So no matter what you see, that's Mickey Mouse, that's Goofy, that's Donald Duck, that is Rigby and Mordecai from the regular show. That you have that visor set up from the X-Men, or you have Wolverine with the Hugh Jackman with the double claws coming out, the adamantium claws. That's Wolverine. If that elongated bus the bus shape is different than a garbage truck. Once you get that sort of visual form language down, it helps. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper here, but before I do, just want one more time. Hi everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful night, and I thank you so much for joining me out of your busy day to hang out with me. It's just turned midnight over here on the East Coast, and it's my sort of private time to hang out with you good friends out there and share some knowledge and stuff. So again, I got Maria on. Awesome. Thanks for joining. I got HMT on. Awesome. And then I got Creative Force on. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. Appreciate you joining into the live stream. Great to have you here. Great to see you. Hope to see you in future live streams. So I'm not going to hold off anymore. Let's start drawing, friends. And let's start talking about how can we use silhouette in our storyboarding. So let's just start off with some character designs and have some fun with that. So I'm going to turn off Big Polly, and I'm going to get Little Polly going in here. Boop. Okay. So we were talking about Save the Cat and about storytelling last week. So make sure everything is hunky-dory. I'm going to throw a question before I start getting on stuff and talking about things. And let me put it right here so you can see that. So I'm curious out there for you artists that are watching the live stream, and type it in if you're watching this in the replay. Do you use silhouettes when you're drawing, or have you in art class use those, or do you use those when you're practicing? Just curious out there, friends. Do you use silhouette? Drop it in the chat, and just curious for those folks out there, do you draw in silhouette? I'll give it a couple minutes here and see if anybody says anything here. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. Okay. Well, feel free. This is interactive, so go ahead and that's what I love about these live streams, is that we can actually hang out and chit chat back and forth. I know it's only text, but I appreciate that and the feedback. So my friend Maria says, not that often, but I know they are important. Yeah. So let's just take a little bit closer look here at this cat. Okay. So I should gave it away already, but you know, so we're sitting there looking at this form, okay, and you know, our brain is looking at the outside of this form. And what I mean by that, let me get some color on here, friends, is that when I'm looking at this, this form, your brain is looking at that outside shape of the form, okay? And when we have a silhouette, your brain automatically sees that it's a cat, and then your brain will go in deeper, and you know, so when your brain is looking at a form, it's distinguishing the outside of that form and its mass to give us what we're looking at. If I'm looking at something that might be a planet, or you know, if we saw this shape, we're just drawing it like this. We know that that's Saturn, right? We would see that space, you know, and or a shape. And this is simple. If I saw a shape like this, I would know this is a crown. Okay, and my brain automatically sees it and says that's a crown. Okay, or if I saw a something like this, I know this is going to be a skeleton key. Okay, so we have some basic icons that we can distinguish when we see the outside of these forms, like we were saying before. our brain is looking at the both the form and the mass of what we're doing to distinguish what the heck we're looking at, and it tells us, okay, Paul, you're looking at a key. Okay, Paul, you're looking at a cat. Okay, Paul, that looks like Saturn. Okay, Paul, that looks like the crown of the king. So if I saw a figure wearing that crown, I would know that there was a king there. Okay. There's a lot of fantastic artists that work in this sort of stylized way. And one artist, I've gotten to chat with him in the past. I'm a big fan of his work. He worked on the show. I think he was an animator on Peter Chung's Aeon Flux that came out in the early 90s, Robert Valley. Robert did a lot of, I know he worked on the Riddick animated series. He's worked on a Tron, animated series. He's worked on quite a few different series and a lot of, I guess, different video games and stuff like that. You've probably seen his work. He has a very stylized, angular way he draws his characters, but he draws a lot with silhouette, simple black and white line art, very simple, very bold, very sleek. He did I think he was nominated for an Academy Award for Parasiter and Cigarettes. Fantastic artist, fantastic guy, and just a super creative personality. And just if you ever get a chance to check out his work, Robert Valley. And once you see his work, you're like, Paulie, I know what you're talking about. And he has a lot. He uses tone and value in terms of his lighting schemas. With very unique color palette when he does color work. But a lot of his work you'll see in animation and stuff is pretty much black and white. Fantastic artist. So check out Robert Valley. And if there's somebody else that has another throw out of somebody that works in silhouette and has strong visual language in their forms, think about it. I know Robert also does a lot of his animation in Photoshop and just the way he puts, I think his Academy nod for his nomination for Parasiter and Cigarettes was all, I think it done a lot of it in Photoshop, and just beautiful artwork. And if you ever get a chance, check it out. So first your brain looks at something like this in the silhouette form, and then it'll start breaking down, it'll break down value or textures or those type of things. And as a designer, those are some of those things. But I think that for you as a storyboard artist, let me back out of this a little bit. Get some clearness here. So when I'm looking at stuff like that, and I'm thinking about why do you need to know this stuff? Why is Paul wasting his time talking about this? Is let's move our little kitty cat over. How about we put that there? Put this down there. Okay. And the reason why we're doing it, and the reason I do it and practice this way, let's move that over, is and a good way to practice is one is clarity. Okay. I think clarity. I think two, with that clarity, your storyboard is easy to read. Okay. I think clarity is, I would almost say clarity is king besides story. And your storyboard is easy to read. I think those are both super important things as we're talking about silhouette and what we're talking about. So let's go ahead and we're going to draw some stuff. We're going to talk about what makes a strong silhouette and what makes a weak silhouette. And you know, what are those tools that you and I can use to sort of distinguish what we're doing and improve our silhouettes and the way we utilize silhouette in terms of our form. We're also going to talk about symmetry and asymmetry in terms of getting some perspective and getting some volume and some depth to our characters, and maybe we'll play around with a little bit of value. So usually if we're working on the computer, I'm using my stylus right now and in Photoshop. Have some fun with this. Just pick black. Pick black. Try to use a brush that is a solid brush. You know, it's a flat, solid brush as you're using it. And then if you're doing something on pen and paper, try to either you could use a Sharpie or something like that, so you can you're drawing in one color. You know, yeah, this would be a highlighter, excuse me, or you could use your Sharpie pens, your just black pens, to get your bold out, or to get your India ink, your thicker pens, so you don't have the smell. Open up a window if you're using those guys. So you could use a pencil too. So when I'm drawing with my pencil, I'll hold my pencil. I'm left-handed, but I'll hold my pencil like this. I'll shave it off a little bit, and I'll just draw my primitive shapes that way, and then change my pencil up to get a little bit more detail, if that helps you, friends. So a couple different tools there that you can utilize to get this on. So if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I'll take a quick sip of my drink here. So let's have some fun. Let's draw some stuff and get it going on here. Get some black. Cool. And then let's talk about those primitives, right? And I think everything we draw has those primitive shapes. And let's get a thicker brush in there so we can lay it down. Lay it down thick. We have our circle. We have our triangle. We have our square. We have our oval. Do that a little better. And we can have our rectangle here. Oh, I am so sorry, Maria. I keep trying to make this interesting with this turning on and off these different cameras I have here. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Oh, here we go. This is what we're talking about here. Sorry about that, friends. And so we're thinking about all these primitive shapes that we have here. And when we see these shapes, we automatically know what those shapes are. Okay? And so, so these are our we have our primitive shapes, right? We have our circle, triangle, box, sphere, rectangle. Okay, so when we see these primitive shapes, these primitive forms, we know exactly what it is, right? And so how do we use this to start doing our drawings? And if I'm doing like a cityscape or something like that, I can have some fun with this, and I can throw down a quick, let's get that thickened up a little tad bit. I can throw up I'm just throwing up some basic stuff, and I can just go in there and add those primitive lines in there to show my cityscape. Maybe even have we got Big Ben. In terms of what we're doing. So as we're working like this and we're working with those shapes, we know that this is some sort of cityscape because we're just working with these bold lines. In terms of what we're doing here. Okay, so it gives us an idea of what we have cooking and how we're working these things. So we're using these basic, you know, if I was just using some basic shapes here. You know, that might even tell a story too, you know, if I'm using these. As I'm drawing silhouette here. You know, there's so many different things you can do, but drawing in silhouette helps you to get those things done. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit more. Let's draw something mechy. Let's draw something mechanical. Let's turn this off real quick. And sort of talk about, you know, different ways, what makes a strong silhouette, and some tips and tricks to play around with this and stuff. Because I know Photoshop has a lot of new abilities that you draw one side and then do that. I have a little bit older version of Photoshop, but let's sort of play around with that. I'm just going to use this sort of blocky brush I have, and what sometimes I do is I break down my image and I start, you know, and I design in threes: small, medium, and large, in terms of how I'm drawing and creating stuff. So let's sort of look at some sort of a mech creature type of thing. Let's see here. I'm just sort of thinking out loud here as I'm doing this. Thinking in boxes and rectangles and what I'm doing here, and we can have some fun with it and cut this apart. In terms of what we're doing, and we're just working with that form. We're building it in terms of what we're doing. Coming up with different shapes and angles, and what am I trying to do here, and have some fun with this. And all we're doing is working in thinking of some sort of robotic creature. here we are, we're just making this creature robot thing. Maybe over here he has a little hand or something. So we're making some sort of robot creature. I don't know what we're doing with this, but we're just having fun with this and sort of drawing with it. I might thicken up the brush a little bit. I work big, small, medium in terms of what we're doing here. We could play around with it too. We could, all we're doing is cutting out this form a little bit. And I can get some white here, swap it around, and sort of just start taking chunks away and sort of keep detailing this out. Just making this simple. You can sort of get the idea of what we're doing, play around with this silhouette. So we can play with that silhouette. We can go even smaller, flip it back to black again, go even smaller. Working around those shapes. In terms of what we're doing, and what I'm doing right now, if you think about it, is we're looking at the positive and negative space in terms to create the shape and the form of this creature that we're creating. You can do it for mech type of stuff. You can do it for figure drawing, and we'll draw some human figures too, so we can show some different things. So we have the negatives. We have our our form here, which is this robot creature. The negative space would be the white, and what we're sort of doing is we're looking at we're going in and out of that object in terms of that form that we're doing, and it's good to go. We're looking at the negative space too, and it helps to pop that particular character where sort of proportions stand out, and we're sort of putting this this figure together to build some form and build some interesting shapes. Maybe I have some sort of cabling that's in there like that. So we have some, maybe we have some cable forms that are coming in there too. And what we're doing is we're looking at, let me get another layer in here real quick. And what I'm looking at is I'm looking at sort of large negative spaces like this area in here. I'm looking at really small negative spaces, you know, or in here, you know, I'm looking at all these different aspects of this to make a great form that we would read. And it's not taking very much, and this can easily be read if we shrink it down. We know it's some sort of robot creature. If we come into it, we know it is a robot too. That form is easy to read. Your brain is reading it, even though we can go complicated in terms of what we're doing and the structure. Okay. One thing that I try not to do, so let's move this, I'll turn that off. Let's move this guy up and over. If you're just joining the chat, drop your name in the chat. I want to know who's hanging out with us today. Got a lot of good friends on right now, and we're working on silhouettes. Okay, let's do this. Leave him right there. Little robot man. Okay, you can stay there, buddy. So no matter what size we're looking at, we know it's some sort of robot creature, and we're easy to read that form. Okay, let's get some black back on there again. I'm going to change my brush so it's not so mechanical looking. Go back to something simple. HMT was saying, wow, I never expected it to reach that level. Yeah, no, you can have some fun with this stuff. I think drawing in silhouette, because the next step from here, you could add some value to it. Your grays and hey, Adam, what's going on? I haven't seen you for a while. Thanks for joining the live stream, buddy. Appreciate you joining on. Great to see you. Thanks for joining in. Tonight we're talking about silhouette and drawing in silhouette. Again, I know I threw out that question earlier, and I'm going to go back and let me turn this back on again. Boop, big Paul again. Are you using silhouette when you're designing your storyboards, or you're doing your designs for your characters or your comics or whatever you're working on? Do you work in silhouette? I think a silhouette is a great practice. So I would say when you're working in the sketchbooks, work in silhouette. Like I said, pull out the Sharpies, pull out maybe a highlighter in a certain color, just one color, and see what you can do with this, and maybe use you know, if you're using something like a Sharpie, you know, Sharpie like a thick block here, I got my thick edge, and then turn it and then use that pointed side to get some different line weights in terms of what you're doing. But again, are you using silhouette when you're drawing? Just throw it out there. HMT, Creative Force, or Adam? Just curious. Okay. Let's turn Big Paul off and go back to Little Paul. Okay, cool. So let's do something different here too, and talk about how we can create different silhouettes here. Okay, I think a lot of folks, they go and they draw, and they do a drawing like this, and let's do this one more time. Get a layer in there. Sort of go down here. That's sort of our center line. I'm just going to sort of think outside the box a little bit in terms of how we can use this for our storyboards. In terms of what we're doing here. And let's just say I'm drawing a woman's face here. Move this out of the way a little bit. Working in that silhouette. We're sort of going to be talking real quick about symmetry, okay? And so, and what we want to see in symmetry is both sides of the form are symmetrical. They're the same. Okay. So if I'm going to grab, let's see if I don't think I put it as extra layer. So if I copy and paste this down, wrong thing. Okay. Here I have this, and if I just go and edit, transform, flip horizontal. This is where the art of Photoshop. You can do it. There's Rob Schneider. You can do it. So this is a symmetrical drawing. Okay, so both equal sides, you see it. And a lot of people do this as a quick cheat for eyes and stuff like that, because you're drawing an eye and you go automatically to you just copy and flip it. This is what we call symmetry. In a lot of drawing programs, you can draw one side, I think in the latest versions of Photoshop, and you can duplicate that same side over there. But the other thing too is your image looks flat. It's really flat. Now if I was doing a graphic design and stickers, something crazy like that, this would be pretty cool. Something. So you always having it asymmetrical is the opposite side is going to look a little bit different. So let's use the same sort of device here as we're learning for symmetry. Let's grab both these. Scale this bad boy down. So when we're talking about this, it's sort of flat, and you're like, okay, cool, does the job, but I'm really happy with that. Usually, like certain shots, you're doing it in a 3/4 view or something like that. It just gives it more depth and more dynamic. This looks really flat. You know, something like we're looking at our robot guy, and over here, and you can just see how asymmetry works. That both these sides of the robot are purposely not drawn the same. You can do it too, and I can just copy the side of the robot. But if I did that, let's take Mr. Robot there and sort of give that example, my friends. Okay, so let's grab that robot. Oh, I want to grab the robot, Paul. Okay, so let's say we grab that robot. Okay, and okay, zoom in on him a little bit. Okay, so we got him hanging out there with us. Okay, let's chop that guy in half. Okay, let's pick that half. Okay, let's delete this half. Get him right down the middle. Okay, so if that's one side of the robot that we drew, and I grab that side, make a duplicate of that, transform them horizontal. Cool. And I put him together. Boy, that is one boring robot, right? And that's something, you know, you're looking at trying to save time and stuff like that. but it just looks flat. It's not exciting. It's not there. When I'm looking at this guy now, I'm like, wow, I went from a cool robot to sort of a boring. So this is boring. Because both sides are the same. But I can go back in and start playing with this other side of the robot and do something different with it. Okay, so if I want to make it cool, let's get some green. We'll say cool. We want him to look cool. Okay, and that's super happy. Okay, so let's play around with that. Okay, let's throw another layer on there and let's play with that. And what can we do with this robot? We can change him up, and just add some color, add some blocking, get rid of some of this jazz on him, we can make it cool, just get rid of one of these devices here, maybe it's not so tall, and then we're talking little and big, and we can start playing with this thing and adding more gears and stuff to it. We just get rid of this, cut this down. We're not doing very much, but we're changing this up quite a bit. Maybe has some sort of now we're making it really interesting. I'm moving this around. Maybe we have wheels on him or something different. Turn it back over here. Let's get that back to black. We're making this interesting right now. We're changing the sizes of things. Got some sort of venting system. In terms of what we're doing, and now we're getting an interesting shape, form, language, something different in terms of that basic shape. So we went from, if I turn this off, I went from super boring to, hey, that's different. That's, even if we totally, change the way the feet worked or something too. can sort of get the idea of what we're doing. So when you have asymmetry to your design, it makes it look totally different in terms of what we're trying to do. Let me throw a quick save on this. I'm going to take a quick sip of my drink, check the chat, see what we got cooking, friends. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look real quick. Appreciate you, Adam. Appreciate you joining in. I tend to use it as a tool when I know stuff isn't reading clearly. I really should try starting with silhouettes and from the start. You know, another secret little hack I do too, and I know I've shown this in the past, but what you can do too is, let's just say you have a solid form like this. Let's draw something else. Let's draw like a female figure or something like that. Okay, so let's drop a new layer on there. And let's sort of have some fun here. Okay, so see my pen I'm using. Cool. Okay, so let's draw a female figure. Okay, and I'm just looking on the outlines and looking at how I'm going to do this. Okay, just thinking outside the lines here. Now we're just drawing as our shapes. Our shape language here. Maybe she has some sort of cool hair. How about we hold off on that for now? Just the shape language of the body. Okay. We're just drawing that form. We're having fun with this form. Sometimes I forget and I draw two. We're just drawing the shapes down here. So scale her down. And we're just drawing in silhouette. We want to see the legs, you know, we want to see these. And we can go in there with our eraser tool and start erasing and working that silhouette as well too. So and it's almost like playing with when you're doing this type of procedure. It's almost like you're working with, I don't know, sometimes it's like clay or something. And so when you're working in silhouette, you can just have some fun with this and just work in form. In terms of what you're doing. Hey Bruce, how's it going? Thanks for joining in, buddy. Tonight we're talking about silhouette. How to use silhouette in your storyboards. Appreciate you jumping in. Cool. And sort of get your idea of this figure that we're drawing and just in silhouette. You know, it helps you get a good silhouette, helps you have some fun, make something dynamic. Let's just say it's like maybe her hair is like as we're working with that silhouette. So that's something there that we're playing around. So silhouette is so important in terms of you know, clarity. We know we were talking about different things, and we're talking about this body. We're just drawing her here, you know, and then you could add some, you know, some detail to her if you needed to. Throw another layer on her. We can knock it out with the white. Sort of, you can have some fun with it. In terms of these shapes. And it's simple, it's easy to read. Maybe a little bit of that, like that. We're just using positive and negative space to sort of create these images. In terms of what we're doing, they just if you're looking at comic artists and things like that, you would something look at like a Frank Miller, you know, uh, doing 300 or you can sort of have some fun. So we did a lot of work just here using positive and negative space. You could use this sometimes, invert your drawing in Photoshop. I know the tools are a little bit easier here. You can even work in this form language too, but you sit there and you look at this character, this female character, and you're like, wow, she reads really easy. So if I'm doing not necessarily have to do a board like this, but if it was working in your positive and negative space. So let's draw a face now and sort of do the same technique here, let's get some sort of like geisha or something like that. Let me take a sip here. I hope you guys are following along great and you're drawing. One of my buddies here on the channel, Andreas, I think it's a great idea. So one of the homework assignments I would give to you friends out there. Let me go to my big Paul here. Okay, so one of the things I would do as a challenge to you at home who are watching this live stream is get out the sketchbooks. Like I said, take some of these fundamentals. You can rewatch this video again on the replay. Copy off the robot and copy off the woman. Take these sort of lessons and draw them your way, your style, that makes sense to you, and have some fun with it. And I challenge you to make this your own. When we're looking at other artists, and we're looking at their work, and we use that for inspiration, and but you can use some of these prints, these designs that you like that get you inspired to draw. And some people love to draw Disney style Disney princesses. Other people love drawing creatures and monsters, and maybe we'll do one of those. We'll see what we do tonight. Other folks like mechanical and mech, and something out of like a Robotech or something like that. Other people, they enjoy natural life and creatures and whales and dolphins and fish and all sorts of stuff. Have fun. Use this silhouette technique, and remember, your brain, when we see these forms, it's looking on the outside. So if I'm looking at my head and I'm just draw a blob of my head, or just the shape of it, it's looking at the way my shape of my head is, my upper torso. Your brain's going, okay, that's a man there. Okay, cool. And then we look at value, like here I'm in black and white. So then we can get some value of the lighter and darker tones. My black shirt, my black rimmed glasses, and unfortunately the gray beard. But you have that going on. So have some fun with that. Try out these projects and have some fun with it. Draw cars, draw a rifle, draw a pencil, draw a rock, whatever it might be, and we'll have some fun because we want to put this into our storyboards and how we can get that done. So let me turn Big Polly off and go back to little Polly. And again, if you're getting some great value out of this, I appreciate your support. Please subscribe to my channel. I know Bruce just subscribed the other day. I appreciate you, Bruce. Thanks so much. We were hanging out over at Eric Yamamoto's live stream, and I super appreciate you all checking out my YouTube channel from over there. And again, for those of you that are getting some great info, I know Eric is working on teaching perspective. So, and he had a bunch of us on there. I know Maria was on there, as well as Bruce and Stephen Platt, famous comic artist and storyboard artist, popped into the chat too. So that was super cool. Man, I remember Stephen's work back in the day when he was over at Image working on the comic book Prophet. So, oh man, it was just a joy to get to see cool pros hanging out all together and sort of mix it up over there on Eric. So check out Eric's YouTube channel, Eric Yamamoto. So I think Eric's going to be doing another live stream, possibly tomorrow night on Friday night. I think he's got a part two to his perspective, some good stuff and some good, some great knowledge that he's throwing down over there on that channel. So check him out too. Okay, let's continue going on. Let's draw some faces. If there's any questions, drop them into the chat. I'd appreciate it. Again, if you're enjoying what you're doing, please support the channel and drop me a line in there and subscribe and that good stuff. It helps helps let me know that you're enjoying what we're seeing here and you're having a good time with this, and it helps me grow this channel. We've only been going strong here now for about a little over 3 months, and man, you guys are helping me grow this channel so quickly, and I really sincerely appreciate it from you folks on the live stream, as well as the folks that are taking the time that can't make the time, but you're watching on the replay. Thank you very much. I'm indebted to you, and I appreciate all of your support, my friends. Okay, cool. Let's continue going on. If there's no questions right now, let's draw some more. I'm having fun with this, and I hope you are too. Cool. Let me make sure I got little big paw off, got little paw on. Cool. Let's turn off some of these layers here. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-boom. Okay, let's start from scratch. Okay, Mr. Robot, take you off too. Boom. Okay. So let's draw a face. Okay, and faces come in all different ways. We talked about these primitive shapes, and I know we've spoken about it before, and we spoke about the get this bigger here. We've talked about the circle face. We've talked about these shapes do different things for us. Okay, when we see these shapes, okay, and something like a circle, and this is where shape language and my buddy Steven Silver, fantastic artist, fantastic person. If you ever get to check out his work on his YouTube channel and his books, he's a fantastic character designer. He designed characters for Jay and Silent Bob on Mallrats. Best known for his work on doing the character designs from Kim Possible. I know he talks about a lot of these techniques as well, so check out Steven's channel, and some of he's been around for a really long time. I always jazzed about hanging out with Steven Silver and shooting down when I was back in California. I had business in California anytime, and I was always hoping it would be time. I mean, he had a program where he would invite in a model, and then we would do a live drawing session. And man, it was so many creative cats in that atmosphere, and just working and getting the time. He's a very humble person, and very wealth of knowledge and experience, and I think fondly of Steven and his help towards me as I pursued my goals, and great dude. But anyway, when I'm looking at this type of thing, I think about character design. I'm thinking about simple shape and shape language and those type of things, and so it always reminds me of Steven. So if we got a circle here, okay, circle is it's smooth. It's sort of a happy. Whoop, that's not what I wanted. It's sort of a happy shape. It's sort of natural. We think of the planet Earth, and it's just natural. It's sort of easy. It's smooth. It's relaxed. There's a lot of properties to a circle. To a square, it's solid. It's strong. It can be gosh, what's another one? I don't want to use the word forceful, but I would say it's strong. It's strength, strong, solid, or it could be boxed in. Because if I go back in there, change my color, change my size down to something small, you know, maybe my character, he's boxed in, you know, he's in a box, you know. And when you see a lot of male figures, they're going to be in a sort of a boxy, jagged way that they're going to be drawn. You know, a female body is going to be drawn more with curves and S curves and C curves, and you know, it's going to be a little bit more form fitting to that curvature of a circle. And then you have your triangle, which is so this is a square. It's going to be sharp, pointed with that sharpness. Usually you see the bad guy. If you're looking at the form of that character, you'll usually see them in that type of scenario. So, you know, to give you like a real world example of what we're talking about over here is, you know, if I'm looking at something sharp, you know, maybe it's a pointed character. Let's try that one time. Start with that shape. It's more angular, you know. I think of like a, you know, you just look at face shapes and the fantastic actor William Dafoe or something, you know, he has that sort of elongated, sort of more angle shape with him, you know. Green Goblin, that's what I was thinking of when. Everything is sort of angular, you know, in terms of what he's doing there. Okay, sort of Green Goblin-ish type of thing. And then if I'm looking at a box, I'm looking at my hero. And he's going to have that more he's going to have more of that boxy shape to his head, you know, in terms of size and that type of thing. And then let's go back over it. And then if I'm drawing a female, I'm going to have that more cylinder style You get the idea of what we're doing here. So a little bit more softer in terms of shape language, in terms of, we go back over it and we're looking at those form shapes. And here we have a circle, here we have upside down triangle, and here we have this square. So it gives you an idea of where we're sort of going with this. Okay, so that's just your basic shape language. Let's continue playing with this a little bit, and maybe we'll bounce off a little bit of value. So let's go ahead, let's turn these dials off. And I hope everybody's having a good time. Throw it up in the chat if you're having a blast and having a good time. And I hope to, please take the time. I'd appreciate it if you love to see your work. If you want any comments or things like that, I'd be happy to throw them over to you. Just throw me a quick DM over on Instagram. Leave you my contact information at the end. Even if you're catching this in the replay and you're sort of going, oh, cool, I got some cool silhouettes, Polly, and I want you to check it out, man. I'd love to see your artwork. And let me know if it's okay. I'll throw it up on the channel. I know I've talked to a few people about that, and I got to put some of that work on there. And it's exciting for me to see a lot of people's work, and it's getting better and better and better every iteration I see of the work you're doing. So appreciate everybody hanging out with me tonight. We'll go a little while longer, and let's just draw a female face real quick and sort of go to the next step, because like I said, the brain is going to go and see that silhouette, and then we start going into texture, then we start going into value, meaning the tones of grays or color and those type of things, to sort of get more detail into what we're doing. Let me give a couple more examples here of one thing we were talking about is our storyboards, and how do we make this work with our storyboards. So and how do we use this basic shape language for what we're trying to do. Okay, let me take a sip here because I'm talking. Okay, so let's got a new layer going on here. Okay, let's bust out see how that looks. Okay, so let's bust out a storyboard panel here. Okay, everybody knows their basic composition. I know I've killed this one to death, but it's always good to go over it. And that's your rule of thirds for composition. And that's just like if you have a grid and you're splitting everything up into threes, these points are where we want that shot to go. Okay, and that makes great composition. You can move your horizon line. I know Eric was talking about that on his live stream. You can have some fun with that too, where you're using that horizon line and you're moving it up and down for 1, 2, 3 point perspective or other perspective types. But this is your basic composition here, is your rule of thirds. Let me write that down for you folks that aren't familiar with it. Rule of thirds. Yeah, and there's two big composition things. Another one was when you're putting your shots together, it would be the 180-degree rule. But we're sort of we're pretty much just talking about the rule of thirds. Okay, so we got our grid up there, and let's sort of play around with this a little bit and what we're talking about, and some sneaky. I think of Mr. Deeds, Adam Sandler, big Adam Sandler fan over here. I think the whole my youngest son and I, we've been watching. Which one are we watching? Oh man, Don't Mess with the Sohan. That's been the latest movie we've been watching together, and every once in a while, I always like Mr. Deeds and stuff, and he's I'm so very sneaky, in terms of what you're doing. So okay, so let's sort of play around with this, my friends, and sort of go from there. And when we're thinking about this, the shape language. So if I have a character on this line, you know. And I'm thinking of that blocking in terms of what I'm doing. I got one character there, and then I can also, let me just grab this character. I can also shrink him in space too. When you're working like this, you can quickly, you know, come up with something real quick where you're working in that shape language, and maybe there's another character over here. That character's here. See that character's ear. When you're working in this sort of blocky way, you can do a lot of different things. If I want to move that character around or up or down or be more imposing, you know, I can do that too. So maybe I want to add more of him up here. In terms of what we're doing here. Or down here, making it more imposing. And when we're working in silhouette, we can do a lot with this in terms of what we're doing here. You get a lot of different angles, you know, in terms of what we're doing. You could have fun with it too on adding one more layer in there and just doing thin out that line a little bit. You know, you can do a lot of simple things just with, you know, silhouette, and to knock out your shots, then go on to the next shot in terms of what you're trying to do. But again, we went over the and you sort of get the idea of what we're trying to do. So when we're storyboarding, you can have some fun with it, you know, in terms of what you're doing. The other things you can do too is you can have some fun and use your shape tool let's just say I throw down a box. Boop. Gonna fill it. Boop. Now we just got a black box. And what's cool about this is you can do some transforming and distorting this box. You know, if you're working only in silhouette. Let's just say we do something like this. And we can just have some fun with this now. In terms of silhouette, you know, just sort of thinking, open that up a little bit. Whether you're creating a ship or do something crazy with this. We're just drawing everything. In silhouette, and here we are. You're making like an amazing drawing, you know, looks like an amazing drawing, but just using simple shape language. You know, and it's just some sort of ship. We're gonna just have fun with it. And just using that to knock it out. You know, and it's just like having fun with this, just, and all it is shape language, using that basic shape we created, and we got sort of some sort of crazy ship. And then we could add a bunch of detail to it. We're just having fun with it. So use a variety of different sizes is, you know, we're talking about this. Here we have a pretty cool ship just coming through, and you can have some fun with it. You know, using those guides of silhouette. So, okay, let's see what time it is. Cool, 1:23. Go for a couple more minutes. Hope everybody's having a good time. We're having fun. Appreciate everybody hanging out with me tonight. So silhouette, again, it helps you with form. It helps you with clarity in terms of what you're trying, the stories that you're trying to tell. You know, we talked about positive and negative space in terms of what we're doing. You know, we talked about from the negative space going from big to medium to small. It helps to get your proportions to stand out. When you're designing, you know, you're designing from large to medium to small shapes. We're also talking about symmetry and asymmetrical, you know, ways you can draw. Asymmetrical gives a little bit of depth in terms of what you're trying to do. But let's quickly draw a face or a figure or something like that real quick, and you know, sort of look at you know, a little bit of value added on top of your basic shape. So if you're boarding and stuff like that, and then we'll call it a night. Appreciate everybody hanging out with me. Hope you're all learning a lot and having fun, or if you're just listening in, appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. Okay, so let's turn this all off. So you can make some wicked cool spaceships with like nothing there. Robots, all sorts of stuff. So let's sort of play around with this idea and how I sort of use this system for our next way we can draw. We have some fun here. So let's just say I have a character here. Okay, we're going to start her off with some sort of bold statement in terms of head shape, what she's doing. Okay, we started like, here's her head, here's her ears. Okay, she's got her neck there. Here, sort of get the idea of what we're doing here. Okay, maybe she's here. In terms of what we're doing. So if I'm looking at these shapes, in terms of what we're doing, and simply what we can do is I'm going to grab this, put this back up on top. Let's drop our gray down on that one. And then this one here, let's just fill it all in with black. So we're just so this is the shape. In terms of what we're doing here. So when we're talking shape, you can create tons. Maybe this is not the right way to. Let's try this one more time here. Let's play with this a little bit more. A little bigger. So let's just say we have a shape of a head. Okay. Start with that, and then we'll work our way down in terms of what we're doing. Okay, so we sort of have this shape here. Let's cut this up a little bit. It's going to be a female head. So we have her going on there. Okay, let's get her neck in there. Have her shoulders and like that. Okay, so we have this basic shape here. And then what we can do is we can have some fun with this and start adding some layers in there. So let's grab that black again, but let's start toning it down a little bit and start building that those shapes in there. Now you can sort of see the start seeing some ideas and thoughts emerge from here. And we're talking about shape language. This is where we're starting to add value. I can come back in and be using that simple shape language. Then we can start cutting in our blacks again. And sort of have some fun with this. Just different ways of drawing. get some ideas of what we're doing here. So you could add tone, you can do some different things with it. So cool. All from that basic knockout shape. Cool, some cool stuff here. Anyway, I'll leave you with that image there. Very cool. You know, again, I hope you learned a lot tonight talking about silhouettes and how to use silhouettes in your drawing, both in your design of your drawings and your storyboards. I hope this was a fun sort of sketching after hours session with you, and I hope I had a good time sharing with you some of the basics of how to make powerful silhouette and use that. So I invite you to go and try this out in your sketchbooks. I'm curious to know what you guys come up with. Have some fun with this. Use this as a fun technique and help yourself learn a little bit better. Remember, clarity is king. Story is king in terms of storyboarding. So we want as much clarity as possible to grow your repertoire of knowledge as a visual storyteller and storyboard artist. Again, my name is Paul Angeli. I'm a live action storyboard artist, and I appreciate you all hanging out with me tonight and having some fun on the sketching after hours. Again, if you enjoyed what you were learning today and having some fun, I invite you to help support me by subscribing. And that really helps me out a lot and helps me to grow this channel. Don't forget to drop a like and a comment in terms of the YouTube channel here. If you want to get in touch with me, I'll leave you with my contact information, and you can get a hold of me by email or my website or on Instagram. Please feel free and reach out at any time. Anyways, I will look forward to seeing you good folks on Saturday for our next live stream, our jam session. And till then, have a fantastic night, and I appreciate you watching tonight. And for those of you watching on the replay, again, have a great night, and I will see you on our next live stream. Good night.